These are the values which have shaped our country and the Commonwealth. As we hear of division, both at home and abroad, they are the values of which we must never lose sight.
But this year's divisions within the royal family were clear at their celebrations at Sandringham today. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie were there, but their father, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, was not welcome. Also tonight, urgent searches for two men missing off the coast of Devon after Christmas Day swimmers are rescued from rough seas. Deadly winter storms sweep across California, bringing mudslides, destruction and delays. And you can be sure that even when there's no chimney for him, Santa will still find a way.
This is ITV News.
Good evening, I'm Cari Davies. The King has praised the wartime generation and the values of courage and sacrifice in his annual Christmas broadcast. He put community spirit at the heart of his message, recorded at Westminster Abbey. The royal family are holding their traditional celebrations at Sandringham, the Prince and Princess of Wales among those hosted by the King and Queen. But in the year he was stripped of his titles, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was not on the guest list, though his daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, were. Our royal editor, Chris Shipp, reports.
For this family, Christmas Day mornings do not change. Gather at Sandringham, walk to church at 11 a.m. What does change, however, is who is and is not there. And after having everything else stripped from him this year, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, was told he was not welcome. But his daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, were still invited and attended with their husbands. The King did not mention his family in this year's Christmas message, although he did talk about learning lessons from the past. For a second year in a row, King Charles recorded his annual Christmas broadcast outside a royal residence. He chose the Lady Chapel inside Westminster Abbey, where 15 kings and queens before him are buried. He spoke of how we can reflect on the theme of pilgrimage at this time of year.
Pilgrimage is a word less used today, but it has particular significance for our modern world, and especially at Christmas. It is about journeying forward into the future, while also journeying back to remember the past and learn from its lessons.
Lessons we can take from those of the wartime generation, the King said, despite them now being fewer in number. He praised their values of courage and sacrifice.
These are the values which have shaped our country and the Commonwealth. As we hear of division, both at home and abroad, they are the values of which we must never lose sight.
The location of the King's broadcast, Westminster Abbey, was also chosen by the Princess of Wales, who hosted her annual carol concert here. It meant father and daughter-in-law could share one another's decorated trees. And the pause in national life which Christmas creates is, the King suggested, an opportunity to put our screens away and focus on those closest to us.
Indeed, as our world seems to spin ever faster, our journeying may pause to quieten our minds.
Journeying is a word which features regularly in the message King Charles recorded here, not, however, his own journey with cancer, nor the difficult journey he's had with his brother Andrew this year. He wanted his words to focus on people and events in all parts of the world, including the 2 terrorist attacks on the Jewish community. Those attacks at Bondi Beach and in Manchester were on opposite sides of the world, but both in countries where Charles is head of state and where we saw people put others before themselves.
These stories of the triumph of courage over adversity give me hope. Individuals and communities display spontaneous bravery, instinctively placing themselves in harm's way to defend others.
This year's broadcast also included a message of support for those in another part of the world who continue to suffer heartache and loss: Ukraine. The world-famous Carol of the Bells was written by a Ukrainian composer. The choir who sang it are all Ukrainians living in Britain, half of whom have been displaced by the ongoing war.
Carol of the Bells, because it matters to us. It's our traditional Christmas song, which was translated into English.
This is our Ukrainian culture, and we can represent and remind people that we still need support.
And the support they got by appearing in the King's Christmas broadcast could not have been more prominent. In Sandringham today, the King and Queen led the family from the church. Despite the better news on his cancer treatment earlier this month, King Charles will still go into the new year as a cancer patient. His nieces looked relaxed as they headed for the family dinner. Their father, Andrew, is understood not to be joining the royal party for any of it. For the Prince and Princess of Wales, who left church alongside the daughters of Mike and Zara Tindall, it's been a calmer year. And Princes George and Louis showed they are almost old enough to follow this royal Christmas routine by themselves. Chris Ship, ITV News.
The war in Ukraine also featured in the Pope's Christmas message. He urged leaders there and in Russia to find the courage to hold direct peace talks as he addressed the crowd in St. Peter's Square. Pope Leo called for a global truce, while in the occupied West Bank, Christmas celebrations returned to Bethlehem for the first time since the outbreak of the war in Gaza. Alex Isaac reports.
Drones rained down on Christmas Day in Ukraine, killing at least 2 and injuring dozens, a day after a bomb blast in Moscow killed 3. Despite the attacks and power outages, people in Kyiv were this Christmas still seeking out hope.
I have 2 children. I need to support them, live on, be happy, and hope that everything will be fine.
It is our duty to give our children the opportunity to have a normal childhood, a normal holiday, and a festive mood.
The war in Ukraine was highlighted in Pope Leo's first Christmas Day address at the Vatican this morning. He called for an end to the fighting there and around the world.
May the clamour of weapons cease, and may the parties involved, with the support and commitment of the international community, find the courage to engage in sincere, direct and respectful talks. From the Child of Bethlehem, we implore peace and consolation for the victims of all current wars in the world.
In the West Bank, itself in the shadow of war, traditional celebrations have this Christmas returned to Bethlehem after 2 years. Midnight Mass was celebrated at the Church of the Nativity, said to be where Christ was born. Across the Middle East, in Gaza, the fragile ceasefire holds for now. But in its war-torn streets, the reality of long-term peace still seems a distant dream. Alex Isaac, ITV News.
In her Christmas Day sermon, the incoming Archbishop of Canterbury talked about some of the most divisive issues here in the UK. Dame Sarah Mullally, the current Bishop of London, spoke about immigration and economic hardship and the need for compassion in seeking resolutions. In other news, 2 men are believed to be missing off the Devon coast following reports of swimmers in difficulty. The alarm was raised at around 10:30 this morning. Several people were rescued from the water at Budley Salterton Beach. Aisha Zahid is here for us. Aisha, what more can you tell us? Well, the search for the two men believed to be missing is continuing this evening. Budley Salton is about 15 miles southeast of Exeter. People had been taking part in a traditional Christmas Day swim, and emergency services were called out in the morning just before 10:30. A number of people were taken back to shore. Some were treated at the scene, some were taken to the hospital as a precaution. And tonight, Devon and Cornwall Police have confirmed the search for the two men continues. Their next of kin are being informed, and as part of the search efforts, they've confirmed that Coast Guard helicopters and several RNLI lifeboat boats have been deployed. With weather warnings still in place and concerns over gusty winds in the area, police are urging people not to take part in Boxing Day swims tomorrow. Okay, Aisha, thank you very much indeed. A woman in her 80s has died following a serious assault in a flat. Wiltshire police say it happened early this morning in Davies, and that a 63-year-old woman who was known to the victim has been arrested on suspicion of murder. And tributes are being paid to the former Scotland, Nottingham Forest and Derby County footballer John Robertson, who has died at the age of 72. Once described by manager Brian Clough as a Picasso of the game, he scored the only goal as Nottingham Forest retained the European Cup in 1980. Emergency has been declared across 6 counties in California as widespread flash flooding forced hundreds to flee their homes. The US National Weather Service says life-threatening conditions are likely to continue throughout Christmas Day. Will Tullis has the latest.
For some in California, extreme weather this week has stopped Christmas in its tracks. Heavy rains have soaked this state, causing flash floods at a time when the roads are usually at their busiest for the holidays.
What happened to the car? I just shut off. Battery turned on and started smoking and stuff, turned off. Oh, man.
The deluge has caused mudslides in some areas, with tornado warnings in place in others. Several people have died and hundreds have been evacuated, with rescue operations ongoing.
This is the type of storm system that affects the area approximately every 5 to 10 years or so. My bottom line point, if you're planning to be out on the roads during the Christmas holiday, please reconsider your plans.
In January, deadly wildfires swept through this state. Now, Californians are spending their last days of the year confronting yet more extreme weather. Will Tullis, ITV News.
President Trump's festive phone calls to children across America have been raising eyebrows this Christmas. He told one young caller how beautiful coal can be, while to another promised to stop bad Santas from infiltrating the country. He even boasted about his election results to a 5-year-old. Sangeeta Kandola has more.
Merry Christmas.
Much like Father Christmas, President Trump and First Lady Melania were flat out on Christmas Eve, enlisted as Santa's little helpers of sorts.
You go to sleep, and then Santa will arrive.
Taking calls under the tree to help kids track the big man the night before Christmas.
Well, we track Santa all over the world.
But even talking to children, the president's politics was never far away, even saying Santa wouldn't be allowed to fall foul of his controversial immigration laws.
We want to make sure that he's not infiltrated, that we're not infiltrating into our country a bad Santa.
The conversation clearly over the heads of these kids who only cared about where Santa was flying in the skies, as they called the North American Aerospace Defense Command, with volunteers like Trump to answer those burning questions.
What would you like Santa to bring?
Not coal.
Not coal. No, you don't want coal. Well, coal is, you mean clean, beautiful coal. I had to do that, I'm sorry.
This young caller got more than she expected getting through to the president. She had, after all, only wished for a Barbie. Sangeeta Kandola, ITV News.
Finally, a bit of joy for some children spending this Christmas at a hospital in Bulgaria. Father Christmas came abseiling down the building, passing personalised gifts and treats through the windows. Organisers say the stunt helps bring happiness to the young patients at a time when they need it most. Well, that's it from all of us for now. We'll be back tomorrow with bulletins from 12:20. But from all of us, Merry Christmas.